Living Single is an American television sitcom that aired for 5 seasons on Fox Network. From 1993 to 1998, we followed a group of single friends living in Brooklyn, New York. The success of Living Single may have been unanticipated, but it was no accident. Over 25 years ago, a determined 27-year-old writer named Yvette Denise Lee, now Yvette Lee Bolzer, found herself with a rare welcome opportunity, the chance to create a show around the comic legend Kim Coles and the rap phenom Queen Latifah. After writing on shows like A Different World and Hanging with Mr. Cooper, Lee Bowser was ready for the chance to create a world that revolved around the kinds of black characters she knew best. Queen Latifah played Khadijah James, Kim Coles played St. Clair James Jones, Erica Alexander played Maxine, aka Max Shaw, Kim Fields played Regina, aka Regine Hunter, John Henton played Overton, aka O.B. Wakefield Jones, T.C. Carson played Kyle Barker, and these friends, who just so happened to be black, lived in the same Brooklyn brownstone together. Now, a year later, a show called Friends launched, which followed a set of friends who lived in the same building, but instead of Brooklyn, in Manhattan. Friends is considered by many an iconic 90s TV show. The NBC sitcom starred Jennifer Aniston, Lisa Kudrow, Courtney Cox, David Schwimmer, Matthew Perry, and Matt LeBlanc. This show ran for 10 years on NBC and continues in syndication, just like Living Single. In a recent interview with The Guardian, David Schwimmer, aka Ross, stated, "I was well aware of the lack of diversity, and I campaigned for years to have Ross date women of color. One of the first girlfriends I had on the show was an Asian American woman, and later I dated an African American woman. That was a very conscious push on my part." While addressing how he benefited from white privilege, Schwimmer then said, "Maybe there should be an all-black Friends or an all-Asian Friends." And it was then that I realized that many of our non-black allies have the space to remove the knife and put it right back into the same wound. So you mean to tell me, that you were aware that Friends was very whitewashed, but you weren't aware that there was a black show in which your show was the blueprint of? So you've never heard of Living Single, even though y'all was working with the same network, same producers, same writers, but you never heard of Living Single. And 25 years later, you say there should be a black Friends. Oh, no. You got it backwards. Okay, there was already a black Friends, which turned into a white Friends. But have no fear, Black Twitter is here. Honey, in the words of Lovely T, Miss Erica Alexander got Mr. David all the way together. Okay, she tweeted, "Hey, David Schwimmer at Friends TV, are you seriously telling me you never heard of Living Single? We invented the template. You're welcome, bro."
Our friends ripping off Living Single back in the day. And was it true that Living Single was supposed to be named Friends?
Yes.
Really?
Well, we were called My Girls when we first did our pilot. And it didn't test well. You know how they test things. So they came down. And we were now filming the actual series. And one of the executives had a whole list of names, 3 or 4 or 5 of them. And he read them out. And it was Living Single, Friends, blah, 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 blah. And they chose Living Single for us. And then the next year, they created Friends.
Oh, the same people that had
the same people were Warner Brothers. They're both at Warner Brothers. We were on the ranch lot, and they were on the big lot. We called the ranch the ghetto lot because we had nothing on that lot. We actually had no air conditioning or heat. So that's what's happened with Friends. And at the end of our run, we were being paid a lot less, and people would say, "Well, you had a smaller market share." I said, "Compared to what?" Comparatively, yes, but if you think about how much they made paying us so little and how much they made in syndication all around the world all these years, right? $2.5 million per episode for them.
Oh, production budget.
For our, like my salary.
Okay,
$55,000 per week. Okay, 26 shows. But if you were Friends, $2.5 million per week.
Per week? That's
per
crazy.
Person.
Well, did it have anything to do with the network? Were they on NBC?
They were on NBC, and we were on Fox. It does. I mean, Fox wasn't considered a network then. It got a lot of breaks to become a network. But also what happened is that again, you're seeing the fact that we didn't get the marketing, we didn't get the play. There were a lot of things that are in place to hold down and make you not feel as valuable. But I'm sure if they looked and scaled and, looked at it and how much they made versus what they put in, I'm sure we're on par, if not way beyond what they made.
2 point what? 2 million. Child, I can't even say it right. $2.5 million per person per episode. And there are people all over this world that die of starvation. I just can't. And Erica wasn't the only one to speak out about this. Many of the other stars openly talked about the discrimination and the bias between Friends and Living Single.
It was us. It was like our idea, So you're mad, because you're not getting any credit for it. And nowadays, people talk about, oh, what a great show that was, and it was like it was based on ours.
Living Single was a jumping off point for another huge sitcom on NBC, right?
Yes, Friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting because when Living Single came out, shortly thereafter, Warren Littlefield, who was president of NBC, they asked him if he could have any show on television, any of the new shows, which one would it be? And he said Living Single. It was in the newspaper. And the next thing you know, here comes Friends, which was an amazing show. And they did a great job with it. So, I mean, if you're going to rock it, that's the way to do it.
Sure, but I know what you mean. It was six people sharing apartments.
Yep, in the city.
Dating
life and life. And so,
Amazing.
Yep, that was from an Essence photo shoot from back then. That's a little Polaroid on my wall.
Everything. Is anybody going back right now to Living Single and like the full?
Feel free to watch us. Watch Living Single. Catch up.
If you don't know Living Single, you need to get your education. Like that's.
It's incredible. It's a great show.
I can't lie. I was a little bit underwhelmed with Queen Latifah in this segment here because she wasn't really being all the way honest. She was being really, nice, being a good sportsman about it, showing good sportsmanship about it, But when she said, if you're going to rock it, that's how you rock it. What she meant was if you're going to steal our shit, well, that's how you do it. You get 2.5 mil per episode per person. That's how you do it. If you're going to steal something, that's how you steal it. Although Friends was a good show, and I actually did watch Friends growing up as well. Although Friends was a good show, it's okay to say, listen, it was a good show, but it wasn't fair. It wasn't right. Like, they literally stole our blueprint. They stood off our shoulders. And we didn't have heat. We didn't have air conditioning. We didn't get half of what they got. They got the budget, they got the marketing. So of course it seems as if they're a better show because they got the marketing, they got the push. They had the giant behind them supplying everything that they needed. All they needed to do was show up to work. And as far as biases and injustices go within the entertainment industry, the Black community, we just know. We don't always talk about it. I mean, on this channel we do. But in everyday life, we don't always talk about it, but we know. You know what I mean? But for him to really come out and say, like, oh, there should be a Black Friends or an Asian Friends, or it's like, are you kidding me? Like, did you forget where you came from? Or you didn't know? But in honor of Black History Month, I do want to celebrate all of these Black actors, the Black writers, the Black producers, all of the Black people in the boardrooms, the Black executives who worked on this show.
Living Single gave me a family.
It allowed me a chance to reach my community in a way I never would have had the opportunity.
The staple in my career by that point had been Facts of Life. And so being able to be shown up for real grown was a huge deal.
I knew immediately that this show was going to be a hit.
As an artist, it meant so much because I was valued to breathe life into her.
I knew immediately that this show was going to strike something in the hearts of people and people of color in particular, and women of color in particular.
It allowed me to create something that I didn't realize at the time would be so long lasting, but I knew that it was important.
To watch everyone come from their worlds and come to this world and make something great was fun to witness.
It was a demographic that we had not seen on TV. We had The Cosby Show, which was an older couple that was successful and they had kids. Then we had Different Worlds, which was the teenagers at college. But we never saw what happened after that gap after college. And this filled that gap after college.
People could see that I could do this even though I didn't always see it.
But to hear that makes me know that the things that we were doing were the right things to do.